So I just saw The Batman a couple days ago, and y'all know I have been hyped for this shit since the first DC fandom trailer was released.
The hell are you supposed to be?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! What the fuck?
Vengeance.
Oh my god! Oh. Now, this review will have both a non-spoiler and spoiler section, but I will start with my non-spoiler review. So here it is. How the fuck have you not seen this movie yet? Stop watching this review right now. Come back later, of course, and watch the movie. That's my review, period. Go watch it. Now, it's time to talk spoilers and give my review for The Batman. Alright, this shit was gas. The fact that it starts off on Halloween just... oh my god.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
I'm gonna just get all the shit that didn't work for me out of the way because, I mean, it's a really short list. For starters, I thoroughly enjoyed Paul Dano's Riddler, but I wasn't really interested in the secret of Gotham that he was trying to expose up until the twist with the Wayne family happens. And I don't know, I was just more fascinated with the actual riddles themselves more than what he was actually uncovering. But it wasn't anything that took me completely out of the film. It was just something minor that didn't captivate me like the elements within the rest of the film did. Catwoman's chemistry with Batman wasn't bad at all in this movie, but their attraction for each other didn't feel well justified or well developed in my opinion, and the film drags at times, specifically in the second act, but nothing major. Also, there were some minor conveniences when it came to solving the riddles, but honestly, those are just nitpicks. And yeah, that's really it. So now, let's talk about the shit that was fucking amazing. The opening of this movie went hard as fuck. Batman narrating is something that we surprisingly have never gotten in live action Batman media, and it was legit nut busting. You dead ass feel the fear that Batman presents to the city of Gotham. Every time these criminals see a shadow, they literally shit their pants at the idea of running into Batman or vengeance at this time. And Gotham as a whole is a character in itself. It doesn't feel like a Chicago or a New York. This shit feels like its own imaginary place, and that's exactly what I wanted. You could feel the crime-ridden, corrupted cesspool that Gotham is, and it's kind of beautifully ugly in a way. This entire film has a noir aesthetic that complements the world of Gotham and the characters within it. Zoe Kravitz was exactly what I expected. She was fucking fantastic as Catwoman. She gave a cat-like performance that was subtle, including a subtle vulnerability to her, but at the same time, she straight up was kicking ass. Colin Farrell is unrecognizable in this shit as Penguin, and he was fucking hilarious at times. Loved his performance, and now I'm pretty excited for that Penguin spin-off series, to be honest. John Turturro was surprisingly really good as Carmine Falcone. I don't know, they pronounce it different like every time. Andy Serkis as Alfred was a little underwhelming for me, not because of his performance or the character, but because he just didn't get as much screen time as I hoped. But I did appreciate when he did. There's a scene specifically when he's in the hospital after Riddler's bomb, and him and Bruce Wayne have a really heartfelt conversation about Bruce's family, and I love that they kept that a mystery. But this scene seriously brought a tear to my eye. I also love how this Alfred actually looks like he's been through some shit. He's scarred a little and shit, because Alfred practically has, with the past in being like an agent and being in the military and stuff before being the Wayne's butler. And Paul Dano absolutely fucking kills it as the Riddler. There's a clip of the funeral scene in this that released before the movie, but in this film, this entire scene is next level tension building. Matt Reeves put on a masterclass in this entire movie, and this scene specifically had me fucking terrified. The Riddler presents a legit threat, and I found myself gripping my seat multiple times when he was on screen. He was even goofy at times, thanking his 500 subscribers and the donations they gave him for bombs. It's hilarious, and I ate all that shit up. He is definitely high on the list in terms of Batman villains, and I'm definitely not saying that because I have more subs than him. And speaking of Batman, this man, listen, I don't want to hear that Twilight Boy bullshit. Cut all the shit. This dude is now Batman. This Batman is presented to be in a year 2 state, so he isn't perfect, but this man is a fucking menace. You can hear his footsteps before you see him. This dude is like the real life fucking boogeyman. His interrogation scene with the Riddler was so tense. The eye acting Robert Pattinson gives within his mask in this scene looked like genuine fear. He sold it so well that shit, I thought the Riddler legit found out who the Batman was. And also he had his hand-to-hand combat that we usually need from Batman, and it was all shot well. His chemistry with Gordon was amazing, and Jeffrey Wright steals basically every scene he is in. They really do feel like a team, but most importantly, Batman really feels like a detective. Also, the Batmobile is in this movie, and what a fucking monster. It didn't have all the bells and whistles, but it works for this grounded world that Matt Reeves built, and the reveal of the Batmobile, let's just say it was fucking bone chilling. I've seen some people say that Batman doesn't solve a lot of riddles, which is just flat out wrong to me. Like, dude figures out riddles literally within seconds in some scenes, and ultimately figures out Riddler's final plan in the third act. So I really don't get that criticism at all. And although he may not solve every riddle, I wouldn't want him to. I understand that he's the world's greatest detective, but the villain still has to present some sort of threat to Batman, and in this case, Riddler is a more intellectual threat to Batman, so it would be dumb for him to not trick Batman just a couple of times. Even small things like Batman not knowing what the carpet installing tool is, because, I mean, the man is rich. He's never had to install carpet. That was good, and there are plenty of moments like this that I greatly appreciated. Now, Robert Pattinson is cutting bullets with his fucking jawline as Batman in this movie for legit like 90% of the runtime, but they do make it clear that he isn't the playboy and polished Bruce yet. He undergoes an amazing arc that made me tear up from being the symbol of fear and vengeance, and when he hears one of the Riddler minions saying their vengeance, he understands that that isn't what he should provide to Gotham. He should provide himself as a hero rather than doing things for revenge. And when that woman's holding on to him, he understands that this is what he can be for Gotham. Not a symbol of vengeance, not a symbol of fear, but a symbol of hope. In my opinion, I think this is the most well-shot comic book movie ever. Literally every frame is a legit fucking Picasso painting. There are moments that look straight out of the Arkham games, and this to me is the closest live-action Batman media we have gotten that feels the most like the Batman animated series, which I grew up on and absolutely adored. This film gives heavy Seven vibes from the start and has influences from Zodiac and even comics like The Long Halloween. It's extremely hard for me to find the negatives within this film without stretching or making minor nitpicks. Everything about the production of this movie was polished and well crafted. The amazing sound design, Greg Fraser's nut-busting cinematography, amazing action set pieces, a Gotham that you can feel, great performances. The Batman is what I've always wanted in a Batman movie, a true detective story, because it is a huge element of Batman's character that we haven't seen much at all. This movie got me locked in from start to finish. The best way I could describe my experience with this film was it was just immersive. The characters felt immersive, the action felt real and immersive, the look of the film was immersive, Gotham was and felt immersive. This is one of the best comic book movies out, period, and shows that huge blockbuster studios can still put out films that have almost an art house feel to them. This is basically as Batman as it gets, in my opinion. It had the hand-to-hand combat, it had the world's greatest detective, it had a true Gotham City, it had plenty of iconic Batman characters, it had the gadgets, the romance, and the darkness, and for that reason, I'm giving the Batman a well-deserved 95%. For the people that are still here, thank you. And there's a question that everyone wants my answer to. Keezy, is the Batman better than the Dark Knight? And I'm not joking when I say this. This is just what I think after letting the film sit with me for a couple days. But in my opinion, the Batman is